What is up, Cleveland Browns fans? It's your old friend IndyCar Timm here with the Cleveland Browns Daily Blitz podcast. It is Sunday. It is Bengals post game. And oh my God, how many things do we have here to unwrap? 21-14, the Browns fall to the Bengals in, well, every single Bengals player on the roster in their first win in Cleveland. In Coach Zach Taylor's first ever win in Cleveland. In Joe Burrow's first ever win in Cleveland. As Burrow was 1-5 all time against the Brownies. And that one win was at home in Cincinnati. Zach Taylor was 0-5. There wasn't a Bengals player on the roster that had ever won a game inside what is now Huntington Bank Field. Well, that's all gone. And something else that's gone for the Browns, it appears, quarterback Deshaun Watson, as he suffered a possible season-ending Achilles tendon injury in the first half of the 21-14 loss to Cincinnati on Sunday. Joe Burrow got his first road win against the Bengals in-state AFC North rival. Watson's leg crumpled on what appeared to be a non-contact play as he dropped back to pass with 1:26 left before halftime. As he planted, you could sort of see his calf quiver, kind of just, he gave himself up and dropped to the turf, and we've all seen Achilles injuries before. It was pretty obvious what it was. Of course, Watson's tenure here in Cleveland has been marked by off-field problems, injuries, poor play. He covered his head as he was carted off the field while he was down. Of course, players from both sides came over to offer support, as well they should. They only announced, the team did, only said that he had suffered an Achilles tendon injury. They did not provide any other specifics. But read between the lines. There's a strong chance that not only will Watson not play again this season, there's a good chance that his time in Cleveland is done. More on that later. Burrow threw 2 touchdown passes in the third quarter as the Bengals ended a 6-game losing streak at Cleveland. While he had played well against every other team in the NFL, Burrow had struggled against the Browns, coming in 1-5 overall and 0-3 on the road. Burrow connected with Jamar Chase for an 18-yard touchdown and T. Higgins for a 25-yard score 6 minutes later. He completed 15 of 25 passes for 181 yards. Watson, of course, signed that fully guaranteed $230 million contract in 2022 after the Browns traded 3 first-round draft picks to Houston for him. He was, of course, suspended the first 11 games of 2022 for violating the league's personal conduct policy after 24 women accused him of sexual assault during massage therapy sessions. Watson made 6 starts and showed flashes of his Pro Bowl days with the Texans last year before suffering a season-ending shoulder injury. Watson's played poorly most of the time this season, but the Browns have stuck with him. Coach Kevin Stefanski, of course, said it's not Watson's fault that we're playing poorly, and has supported his quarterback. Before Watson got hurt, he was 15 of 17 for 128 yards, but he was replaced by Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who moved ahead of Jameis Winston on the depth chart this week, of all weeks, right? DTR finished 11 of 24 for 82 yards and 2 interceptions before himself having to leave the game with a finger injury. Winston came in and played the final 3:43 of the game. He threw a touchdown pass to David Njoku and a 2-point conversion to get the game to 21-14. And Winston looked pretty good, I'm not going to lie. And now you wonder what the game would have looked like if Winston had played the entire second half, had he been number 2 on the depth chart. Of course, he was inactive, and he was marked the number 3 emergency quarterback, which means he's not eligible to play unless your number 1 and number 2 quarterbacks go down, which is what happened. But just kind of wonder how things may have gone in this game, as Cincinnati really didn't have any offense either. This was a horrible, boring game to watch, especially in the first half. I know Cleveland had a couple of drives there where they scored, but really had nothing going on. Charlie Jones returned the opening kickoff 100 yards for the touchdown to open the game, as the Bengals were up 7-0 before Joe Burrow even had to touch the ball. So, yes, a lot of things here to unpack. Watson's injury comes on the heels of the Browns welcoming back Nick Chubb, who, of course, is back after for the first time since week 2 of last season at Pittsburgh when he had that gruesome knee injury. He's been rehabbing all last year, all of this year. He ran for a 1-yard touchdown just after Watson left the game. Chubb, of course, received a thunderous ovation in Cleveland after he sprinted from the tunnel during pregame introductions. The roar came seconds after the struggling Watson was booed before Cleveland's first home game in 3 weeks. Man, Cleveland fans are brutal, man. Maybe not as brutal as Philly fans, but it's pretty brutal. I'm not going to lie. Chubb was already one of the Browns' most popular players. He said the support he received from fans during the recovery fueled him, and he thanked Cleveland fans in an essay to in the Players Tribune this week. You guys go check that out if you did not see it already in the Players Tribune. Jones caught the opening kick at his goal line, found a seam at the Cleveland 25, made a cut to the right, and he was gone on the opening kickoff. He nearly got caught at the 10, but he was able to leap a couple of tackles, stay in bounds as he somersaulted into the end zone. It was only his third kick return of his career. He took a punt back 81 yards for a TD last season as a rookie against Baltimore. That touchdown was the longest return this season, and the third one since the new kickoff rule was implemented this year. Orlando Brown left the game in the second quarter with a right knee injury, did not return. In other injury news, for the Bengals, Geno Stone was taken off on a cart with a severe leg injury late in the fourth. Appeared to be a broken leg. He was put in an air cast after he was hit by friendly fire by his own teammate, Von Bell. So good thoughts for Geno Stone in his recovery. Same for Orlando Brown Jr. We will have more on his injury as we further recap Browns and Bengals. Next week, the Browns host Baltimore on Sunday. The Bengals will host Philadelphia on Sunday. So, man, lots of things here. I hope you caught all that. Sorry we rushed a little bit through it here. We try to keep these things pretty short to the point. But, yes, lots to unpack here. More on the Watson injury, more on the Chubb return, more on the Orlando Brown Jr. injury, all of that good stuff as we will further continue to review, recap, react to the Browns' 21-14 loss to the Bengals on Sunday. Let me know what you would like to hear, what you would like to talk about at IndyCar Timm on Threads and on the X machine. Until next time, boys and girls, we'll see you.